And tonight on PM Express, the big conversation about rescuing Ghana's economy as pressure intensifies on President Akufo-Addo to sack the finance minister, Ken Ofori, because 80 members of parliament from his own party, the NPP, have today joined calls for Ken Ofori to be sacked. This gives their colleagues from the minority in parliament the boost in their quest to surmount the constitutional hurdle of getting 183 MPs to back their motion of censure seeking the removal of Ken Ofori as finance minister. You recall the minister has been under intense pressure for months following extreme economic hardship despite the president defending him. The minority says it will boycott the 2023 budget if the finance minister is not sacked. Question remains, will sacking Ofori save the economy? Well, you may have monitored. The minority also wants the head of Vice President, Dr. Bawumia. They want him out as head of economic management team. In all of these, the President Akufo-Addo has today been seeking input from the Association of Ghana Industries, Bankers, and the Council of State on ways to resuscitate the distressed Ghanaian economy. What impact will that make? But how dire is our situation at the moment? And I will share that with you shortly. So they're also calling for Charles Edubuahin to also be sacked. All these calls are coming from different angles. Today is supporting previous calls, and those calls have been made. The latest has been Prophet Kofi Odro and other pastors or if you like, leaders of churches. Martin Kwebu has called for it. Professor Godfrey Bokman, Dr. Theo Champon. You've heard AFAC speak, NDC, and you've heard now 80 NPP MPs joining that. So, censure motion against Finance Minister, and the minority is threatening not to actually support the budget, if the 2023 budget, if the finance minister is not sacked. Let's do a bit of background from where we've come from and where we are now. The reason people are calling for the head of the finance minister from 2017, and this is inflation. Recently, you've heard that it's gone to 37.20%. We came from 12.40% all the way from 2017, and then it came down in 2019 to 7.10%, went up a bit in 2020, 9.90, then came to a single 10%, which is 2021. But look at 2022, August to September, it's been running. In August, it was 31.70, and now in September, 37.20. Look at the total debt stock in billion cedis. In 2017, 142 billion, 2018, 173 billion, 2019, 218 billion. Now look at 2021 and 2022. Don't talk about 2020, which is 292 billion. Between 2021 and July 2022, just look at the increase. 352 billion to 402 billion. You look at the dollar CD depreciation, that has been the biggest conversation. The reason the president has been meeting a number of people, gathering their input as to how to save the economy. And you look at 2017, we bought it at 4.94 CD. Okay, so the CD lost 4.9% to the dollar. Now look at how much it has lost as at October, 57.90, almost 60% to the dollar. And you look at our international reserves. Currently, we have 6.6, which is nothing to write home about. The reason the Bank of Ghana seems to have its hands tied in solving this problem, because we started the year with $9.8 billion. Now we are at $6.6 billion. And we've been getting some cushioning from Afro-Exim Bank. We've had Cocoa Syndicated Loan. We've had loans from the sale of oil and mine companies. All of that, we haven't seen any improvement. Now look at this how this has affected us. Petrol and diesel is one of the issues we've been discussing. And today, the president, again, met transport operators to talk to them to reduce their intended 40% increment to about 15%. It all boils down to the dollar CD conversation. And this is where we are right now. If you look at how much we are buying diesel right now, in October 2022, it's almost 16 cities. Fuel is 13.1 cities. We started in 2015, 2 cities, 77 pesos. Let's look at how we started the year. In February 2022, we bought it at 7 cities, 26 pesos. Diesel and petrol were on the same pedestal. Look at May. Diesel went up about 2% up than petrol. Look at June, and then petrol came down, diesel is still going up. Now diesel has taken over. But if you look here, it's usually been petrol higher than diesel. Right now, this is where we are with petrol and diesel. This night, Ken Ofori is in hot soup. His office is on the line. But the question is, will that save the economy? Tonight I've been joined in the studio by Eugene Boakye Entry. He's MP for Subin constituency. And Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed is MP for Tamale Central. I would also be joined via Zoom by Setchu Makwaba. He's CEO of the Association of Ghana Industries. Let's have a conversation after this break. Welcome back to PM Express. My name is Ayisha Ibrahim. I've been joined in the studio by Eugene Boakye Entry. Subing MP Murtala Mohammed has also joined me in the studio. And we have Setchu Makwaba, who is AGI President, who has also joined us via Zoom. I'm grateful, gentlemen, that you were able to make it. Let me start with you, Eugene. Why are you calling for the head of Ken Ofori and not the president? I mean, in the UK, we've seen examples of ministers when the situation or the system is not working, Prime Minister himself resigns. Why are you calling for just Finance Minister when you know that he works hand in hand with the president?
Well, I'm not asking. Well, let me say good evening to esteemed viewers. I'm not asking for the hand of the head of the Finance Minister. We are all aware that because of the COVID pandemic and its aftermath and the Russia-Ukraine war, there are challenges within every economic setup. My issue with Ken Ofori is the pronouncement he made leading up to the IMF negotiation, which I'll quote for the benefit of viewers. I even found it on your page, Joy Business, on the 1st of July, where he says, we are not going to go to the, quote, we are not going to go to the IMF. The consequences are dire. We are a proud nation, we have the resources, we have the capacity. Ken Ofori at the government town hall meeting is dated 1st of July. This particular pronouncement, I suspect, is creating problems with the finance leader leading our discussion with the IMF. Why do I say that? It brings into sharp focus a huge credibility gap. You understand? Because we've already demonstrated to the world that you are not a fan of the IMF. And the IMF can help us out of the quagmire in which we find ourselves today. In the same vein, you are the one leading the discussion. You see, this is my bone of contention. And this is where I believe that the president ought to do the right thing by asking his finance minister to step aside. That's what politics is all about. If you make statements that run contrary to direction or situations around you, you just resign. And the reason why some of us took the stance we took today, I think a month or two ago, the president was in the northern part of Ghana. I'm not too sure which part of northern region where he was, where he said that those calling for the head of Ken Ofori Atta were NDC members.
Okay.
So we had to demonstrate to him, after spending 3 months in our respective constituencies, that our constituents have sent us to come and deliver to him a very, very, very cold message that Ken Ofori Atta must be asked to step aside. So that's where we find ourselves. For anybody to say that what we did today in Parliament House is not in the best interest of this party or my party and the government needs to re-examine themselves. Right? Ken Ofori Atta has done his bit for the last 6 years. Under all the democratic dispensations since independence, he's the longest serving minister. Yes.
The question is, what will happen? I mean, what will it do? Will that save the situation? Will it bring the dollar close to the CD? Will it save the exchange rate?
Sometimes when you bring fresh faces, right, it sort of rekindles the base, it energizes the party. People have fresh hopes and aspirations. You understand? People say, okay, let's give this person a chance, right? But having part of the problem, how is he going to be part of the solution? And that's why we think that the president must really relieve him of his position. I'm just worried about the direction of the government, the direction of the party going forward. This is nothing personal. That's what people must understand. It's to do with how we feel that as a government, in the first 4 years, our performance was superlative. How come all of a sudden the IMF is not playing ball? They're not playing ball because of the pronouncements of the finance minister. And if any MPP member, I know some of them, will say that, oh, that's not true, man, they don't know what is at stake. Because I can confidently tell you that during the NDC time, when Tepe was the minister, he had also made pronouncements because he was also an IMF person. So he didn't want to go to IMF, right? But the NDC leadership under Mahama and co got Kwesi Botwe, because at that time, to Vice President Atta had also said something nasty about the IMF.
Okay.
Right? So what they did was they got Kwesi Botwe to lead the discussion. Right? Then Tepe sat back. So that's what we're asking, that where we find ourselves today, it's about credibility. The IMF is not taking Ken Ofori Atta seriously, no matter what anybody says. Right? We have still not been able to achieve anything. If you're going to get any money into the system, probably be in January or thereabout. Right? But we are sinking. We are sinking. And this so-called mantra of we have the men, it's like it's become a laughing stock. But we do have the men. So President Akufo-Addo should deploy the men. We do have the men in the party. Okay. What kind of education has Ofori Atta got? What kind of exposure that has he got that others haven't got? Okay. This is where we are coming. So sometimes by just putting a new face on the seat, we'll sort of bring confidence back to the economy, stabilize the markets for us to be able to go to these negotiations with, a firm, what should I say? A firm, I have to choose my words carefully. firm requests.
Okay.
Yes. And that's what we're asking. It has nothing to do with anything. And I keep saying it. I've said it to you on numerous stations today, that we are running a democracy. We're not running a family dynasty. Okay. That's what people must get into their heads. This party is not just about a certain group of people or a person. This party is about all of us. Okay.
So I'll be finding out how popular this position of yours, we know about 80 MPs are supporting, but did you even discuss this with your leadership in Parliament? But Murtala, this is what you.
So let's finish with me and let him come, because it's the same matter. So let's finish with it, and then unless.
Exactly what.
Yes, because what happened is that on Sunday we could see tension brewing. Right from before we even went on recess.
Okay.
So what we decided to do was, look, you know what? Let's go back. When we come back, we can then begin to engage leadership.
Okay.
So I woke the majority leader up at dawn Say, look, we need you in Accra by 1 p.m. Because the way things are, if you don't come and things blow up in our faces, we are done. So he said, don't worry. He was in Rock City, Kwawu. So he said, I'm just getting into the bath. So the majority leader got here around 1 p.m. We met. There were about 40 MPs at the time. And then we asked him to take
40 MPs.
Yes, on a Sunday.
Okay.
On the Sunday when we met. So I said, okay, if that's the case, then the finance minister should take the worries and the concerns of MPs who are just returned from their constituency to the president.
Okay.
We don't want a situation where we spring a surprise on him, the majority leader, or embarrass our president.
Okay.
So go to him and sit him and say, look, this is the position of your members of parliament, right? And let us have a feedback. The president was in the eastern region doing his tour. So the president go back in Accra, I think got into Accra on a Monday. I'm not too sure. So Monday afternoon after business committee meeting, I got a call. I called the leader of the house and wanted to find out if there's been any positive feedback. Yeah. So he said, oh, come to parliament. As I said, I'm struggling to walk, I have an issue with my knee.
Sorry.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Fair enough, let me go. So I got a driver. My cousin had then come to visit him, so he gave me his driver. We came to parliament. I was there with 2 other colleagues who are also MPs, plus the majority leader.
Okay.
And so we wanted to know what had come out of this meeting with the president. And he said, well, he doesn't have any positive feedback for us. So as we were jawing, the general secretary of the party and the national chairman came to majority leader's office. Okay. So all of us were there. That means we are now 6. Okay, we're now 6. So we told the national chairman and the general secretary to accompany the majority for them and go back to the president and re-echo the sentiments. And then we take a decision this morning.
Yeah.
This morning, there was still a stalemate. Okay. Right? And as members of parliament, in any democracy, it's the legislation that's supreme. Because you need them to conduct your business. The executive can be there, but if you don't have the numbers like, what is happening now, it's difficult to transact any business. Okay. So if we are telling you, the president, that this is what is happening, and also look at a trend. Everywhere the president has been, there's been a question about the performance of his finance minister. Okay. Everywhere he's been. It's not okay. It's a fact. Everywhere the president has been, he's been questioned about his finance minister. So can everybody be wrong and guess the president be, right? So these are our concerns. Look, everywhere you go, they ask you. So what about the finance minister? All the ministers, why him? So we felt that, look, if the president does not want to listen to us, then the only way to let our constituents understand that we've articulated their concerns is to boycott parliament and not participate in any government business, so that they will know that the message that they gave us has been communicated to the president, but no action has been taken on the side of the president. So to express our
frustration
against the president's decision, we just not go to parliament to help his government transact his business. Okay. And this was today reinforced at the press conference because that is the stage where we are at the moment. So that is that. So it's not like we just got up to go and hold the press conference. Okay. Everybody says that it's a lie. Okay. Yes, it's a lie. I sit here and I said that.
So the president himself knew that this will happen?
As for that, I don't know. Okay. But of course, the president. So you have the feelers. Okay. Not everybody in the House of Parliament will be for us. There are people who also take information. It's politics. Okay. Yes, but this thing was meant to happen. Okay. And the majority leader, on 2 occasions, went to see the president on Monday with the general secretary of the party and the national chairman.
And it still had to happen because we didn't have any positive
if the president had said, okay, you know what, get me my MPs. I need to see them now. Okay.
Jubilee Maybe House. It wouldn't have happened.
Jubilee House, come, all of you.
Let me bring in Murtala. Murtala, this is what you guys have always called for. What's your reaction seeing that your colleagues on the other side are supporting your call?
Good evening, Ayisha.
Good evening, Murtala.
Big brother. My mischievous.
Don't come and start to.
And of course, the viewing public, and most importantly, the good people of Tamale Central. Let me first and foremost state that it is not accurate to say that he's the longest serving minister.
In a democratic dispensation. Who?
The minister for roads has also served as.
No, I'm talking about finance.
Well,
that ministry.
Okay, I thought we said
no, not ministry.
Minister.
Okay.
You see, there's a proverb in the Gbani.
To wait.
There's a particular town called Tunaile, and they have a particular fruit. So you've been craving for that fruit. The fruit is abundance in that particular community. You are seated craving for it, and suddenly they sent you to that particular town.
Oh,
you'll be very happy. If you've been craving for Fanti Kenke, and suddenly you are sent to go to Winneba, or to Takoradi, or to Cape Coast, you'll be very happy.
What's your point?
We have been calling for this not today.
Okay.
But you ask him a very intelligent question. No fish will rot except that the rotting will start from the head. If the justification for they calling for the removal of Mr. Ken Ofori Atta, which already was our position, is that because of credibility. For information, the president himself has lost the credibility. If credibility is the yardstick to determine whether someone should govern, the president has lost it completely. Why? You made reference to United Kingdom. Maybe perhaps they want to get the Minister for Finance, and after that the president himself must go. I have said on this, your program, and many other programs, that the reason why Ken Ofori Atta is still the Minister for Finance is because he uses Ofori Atta. There is no positive story you can tell about this man as a Minister for Finance. Tell me one single story. But by the way, he is answerable to the appointing authority. The president and the vice president are a disaster.
I thought we were talking about Ken Ofori Atta.
Of course. Who appointed Ken? Whose direction? In fact, the position, the policy position of the president, the vision of the president is what is echoed by his appointees, including the minister. Justified as Ken Ofori Atta's, dismissal is, which has been the position of some of us. By the way, I never voted for him.
Okay.
Even when the decision was to approve him, unanimous by the committee, I walked out.
Okay.
Because I have been very consistent. There are very good people who could have served as ministers. When the NDC lost power in 2016, I publicly stated that the best person who should have been appointed as the Minister for Finance was Dr. Okuto Osei. And I said that for a reason. I said that I served in the Finance Committee with Dr. Okuto Osei for 8 years. If there was anybody within the NPP who understood the real economic position of this country at the time, was Dr. Okuto Osei. Because he was the ranking member for 8 years. He had been a Minister of State. The president didn't appoint him because he's not a family member. We live in a country where but that is a fact.
Are all the ministers his family members?
How many family members doesn't he have in his government? Remember, President Mahama just had only Joyce Bauer, who was a niece. Joyce Bauer was a deputy minister for transport. Joyce Bauer was a lawyer in practice for 18 years before she was appointed a deputy minister. Joyce Bauer was more than capable to be a minister of state. The NPP went to town, including President Nanado, in Kumasi, February 2016. He said that he wasn't going to run family and friends government. You had that ethnic chauvinist professor, Professor Adai, who also said that President Mahama was running a family and friends government when they knew that the only family member who had appointment in his government was Joyce Bauer, who was more than capable of being a minister, yet she was made a deputy minister. Nobody held a dagger before the president to make that pronouncement. When he came, what did he do? He lined up family and friends to the extent that even his daughters got appointment in this government. That was the beginning of the disaster. He said a sterling performance. What sterling performance are you talking about? Every economic indicator from 2006-17 till date is a complete failure. And for the avoidance of doubt, I'll give you those indicators. Under the NDC, inflation was 15%. You said President Mahama was incompetent. What is it today? Under the NDC, unemployment, in fact, that should be the ultimate objective of every government, particularly a developing country.
Compare the first 4 years.
No, yes, I'm talking about the first 4 years up to date. I'm talking about the first.
So give me the inflation for 2018.
I'm saying.
Go ahead.
It started you see, when they talked about when they enjoyed single digit just for 2 months.
Okay.
The NDC ran a single digit under President Mills for over a year.
Yeah.
So don't even go there. The ultimate objective of every government is to improve the living conditions of your people.
Yeah.
And what for me is now is the number of jobs we create. Because we have a huge unemployment. Under President Mahama, even on the very day this super incompetent president was sworn in, the unemployment was 6.8. Today, with even the massage figures they are giving us, unemployment is 17.4. That figures are massaged. You see, today, what is the rate of the dollar? Now, when we're talking about, they say, oh, the rate of depreciation. Now, they are no longer talking about it because it has depreciated more than 100%. Tell me one single success story that this minister has. One. And trust me, I'll give you a white cooler.
But of course,
there is no any success.
In 2018, inflation was at 7.80%.
For how many months?
In 2019, it was 7.10%. 10%. In 2020, it was 9.90%. In 2021, it was 10%.
It started increasing.
In 2022, that it's actually ballooned.
Everybody knew. Even the World Bank had projected by 2017, our economy was going to grow. And it was as a result of the investment that the NDC did in the oil sector.
But the man said COVID came in to spoil all the plans.
Me those stories, those stories of COVID. Are we the only country that was affected by COVID?
No.
Good. Before COVID, our economy was the second largest and the second performing economy within the West African sub-region.
Okay.
COVID, and I heard a lot of the MPP dudes, they said, oh, we manage COVID than our neighbors. That is utterly not true. The best way to manage COVID is to prevent lives being lost. If you take percentage terms, lives were lost in Ghana than in Togo, than in Burkina, than in Senegal. Even if you want to look at it on percentage terms.
But if you want to compare it to the developed countries, those who even have the wealth, those who have what it takes to deal with it.
Are we talking of developed countries
now? There were
now?
people who died.
No, are we talking about developed countries now? The best way to assess your performance, when you want to go inter-college, those of us who are doing long jumping, you have to do the inter-house first.
Okay.
Now, if you are performing abysmally in inter-house, you even go for inter-school, let alone inter-regional. Okay. The point I'm making is that none of our neighbors went to the IMF to borrow $3 billion in the name of COVID. None. As a matter of fact, Burkina went for $20 million. None of our neighbors went to the World Bank for $904 million. That is what we borrowed.
But source, what was the source?
They were, but come on. Even government of Ghana through as a Minister of Finance itself, and even Joy, prove me wrong, Minister of Finance itself officially said they went for $3 billion loan.
I'm not disputing that. I said, what's the source?
I've just told you the Minister of Finance.
No, about the others.
Oh, I'm saying that Burkina. Google it. Burkina went for only $20 million. And I want to be embarrassed. Let your producers Google it. We went for $3 billion in the name of COVID. None of them went.
3 billion?
3 billion from the IMF. None of our neighbors went to the World Bank for $904 million. None of our neighbors dipped their hands into all manner of funds established by the president you described as incompetent. To the extent that monies or funds that were established by President Mahama, you dip your filthy hands in them, mess up the money. I will. Let me finish. No, it is not harsh.
Filthy hands.
It's filthy.
Okay.
And can I finish? I listen to you.
Go ahead.
You said absolutely filthy. And I'll tell you why I say it's filthy. Why?
Okay.
Today, we were deceived. Part of good governance is transparency and honesty. We were told we were given free water and free electricity. Is that not what you told us? When people question what they were using their money, so we gave you free water and free electricity, only for us to be tricked. You tell us, yeah, trick more. My tree is not that good. We are now made to pay for the so-called free water and electricity. And mind you, it is even unethical. Not everybody in Ghana enjoy the free electricity and free water. The likes of myself and you never enjoy that.
Yeah.
Today, we are all being made to pay for something we never enjoyed. Now, without even discussing that with us, the COVID levy we are paying, we do not know how much government spent in the so-called free water and free electricity, yet we are paying the tax. I have filed a question, in fact, I filed a question before we rose, wanting the Minister for Finance to come to Parliament to tell us how much did the state spend in providing the free water and free electricity to us? How much have they collected so far? Assuming government spent 3 million Ghana cedis in providing the free water and free electricity.
Yep.
Okay, the so-called free water is no longer free. And now with the COVID levy we are paying, assuming we have paid more than 3 million, that is robbery. That is absolutely robbery. Because you impose a tax for a purpose. People have done that obligation, which is even unethical, because that tax is paid by everybody. So the point I'm making is that this minister has no success story. The only reason why the minister is still there because he uses the Ofori, and I can tell you, Ayisha, go and swear, go and swear affidavit tomorrow.
And change my name.
And add Ofori to your name. I am telling you the next day you'll be given a pen. That is where we are.
But I know a number of Oforiatas walking about.
There is only one Oforiata I know who is not. I won't mention his name. He's my very good friend. But I'm saying that this is the state of Ghana today. Why is it that the president is unwilling to let this man go? Look, he has shown absolute disrespect to Parliament. Several instances, Parliament would invite him to come and answer questions. Those questions are answered for the people of this country, the taxpayers. The clothing of this minister and the president is provided by us. Okay. This man will not come. And even when he attempts to come, he appeared extremely condescending. And they know that.
Are you sure that you will get the support you need for this censure you're talking about?
And trust me, I need to commend our friends for taking that bold step. Actually, I am doing some work in Parliament. I was having a discussion with him. If you read literature, a lot of the scholars talk about the fact that Parliament is just a toothless dog. Decisions are largely taken based on the
majority.
Yes. But what happened in the elections of the speaker, what happened in the appointment of ministers, and this singular decision, for me, is defining more or less the literature that is hugely held by academia, that people, members of Parliament, take decisions based on partisanship. It is a demonstration that this, our Parliament, has come to stay, and we are growing. I mean, despite the fact that we have some challenges, I think that they ought to be commended. I had interactions with other members of Parliament who have also expressed the same sentiments, and they agree with the decision that is taken by our friends. Today, he was there. Before they had their press conference, I just came and I said, are you people even have the courage to hold press conference when the country economy is on its knees? And how did I conclude? I said, you should impeach, ask for the dismissal of the minister. Little did I didn't know. However, the NDC, Honorable Harun Idrisu, had indicated to the majority leader yesterday that we're going to move a motion for censure of the minister. I was telling him that perhaps they heard what we're going to do, and that was the reason why they rushed to do what they did. And he explained to me, look, they have been having these discussions, not today. Why is it that this president cannot dismiss this man? But let me make this conclusive statement. There are 3 reasons why ministers are reshuffled, or governments or presidents reshuffle their appointees. When your appointees are aware that there's a possibility of reshuffle, they are on their toes. They want to deliver a mandate given to them by the president to make you happy and to achieve a goal. 2, reshuffle denies appointees from being comfortable. When appointees are comfortable at their places of appointment, they tend to be corrupt. But when they know that they could be reshuffled at any time, they work with that in mind. The third one is, your party members who are not appointed, once they know that there is a possibility of reshuffle, they will be hoping and anticipating. So they will always contribute, even on the fence. They are quoted to ensure that that government succeeds. That is what is missing. You have a president, when people ask for him to reshuffle, he says that those who are asking for the reshuffle, they want jobs. Imani and Co are looking, my good friend, Franklin and Co are looking for jobs. Even Joy, when you people were asking for reshuffle, the president said that you people are looking for jobs. There is no denying the fact that removing the minister will not salvage the situation. To be very honest with you, we are on a journey of no return. This economy is disastrously managed. Let's all pray. The best time to get our religious people to pray is this time, so that people should pray to salvage this economy. But we are saying, once the president even takes him out, it brings some confidence. If not for anything, but your teaming masses. And look, as a political party, we will be happy to find, if you have a team that your defender is licking, you would, and your opponent would want you to leave that defender so that you continue to lick. But we are citizens of this country. We have a moral duty and a responsibility to speak for Ghana. So our position as NDC today in Parliament is not just NDC. It's about the survival of this state. Because inshallah, we will take the leadership of this country tomorrow, and we don't want you, and through this minister, to disastrously manage this economy.
Well, more importantly, you say the president hasn't listened to advice. At least he listened because I heard the former President Mahama saying that he should invite people, stakeholders, to deliberate on how these issues can be resolved. Today, he met people who matter in this whole conversation. And one of them who was at the meeting is the AGI president, Sechuma Kwaba. I'm grateful for your time. Kindly share with us some of the issues that came up at this meeting.
Well, thank you very much. I'm actually not the president of AGI. I'm the CEO of AGI.
Forgive me.
That's fine. Yes. So I think, as you rightly said, the meeting with AGI was very important because we needed the president to speak to us and give us confidence and hope. Because for some time now, we've had serious concerns about the economy. People have seen their investments being depleted. So it's really a big issue because you have your city depreciating at a very fast rate. So the meeting with industry was critical. And what was also good about the meeting is the fact that the president also assembled some key ministers whose programs and activities and related matters affect the private sector. They were all there to interact with us, so we thought that was very important. In our meeting with the president, he actually acknowledged the challenges we are going through, and it's important that he acknowledged it. It means that once you know that you have a problem at hand, then you take the necessary measures to try and resolve some of those problems. So the acknowledgement for us was very key. The fact that the engagement with IMF is also ongoing, and the fact that there's some kind of assurance that indeed this would end by the end of the year, most likely we'll have a program with IMF by the end of the year, is giving confidence. And he also had the governor of Bank of Ghana speaking to us and giving us the assurance that they are engaging the banks, and they know that part of the reason why we are having the fast depreciation of the city is due to speculative reasons. And for that reason, once they are talking to the banks, they are making every effort to take away the speculative aspect and angle of the city depreciation. So that brings some comfort. And we also had the Minister for Finance talking to us and talking about the IMF program. And so did we have the Minister for Trade and Industry and Minister of Agriculture also talking to us. So I think that the meeting was very important. It was good. It gives some assurance. And we've been looking forward to this for quite a while. So it's good that finally it came on, because at this particular moment, for private sector operators, what we want is stability. We really want to see stability in the system so we can plan our businesses, project. If it's loan you are taking, you know that within a certain period you can pay back your facilities. So the uncertainty in the system was just too much. And I think that now that the president has spoken to us and has given us every confidence that they are dealing with the economy, I want to believe that things will go well. Because what we all need as a country, is that we shouldn't give up hope. We should rather rally behind the president, and everybody should work towards achieving the common objective we have in bringing stability into the system.
What does the okay? Go ahead.
Yeah. So from the AGI side, we also expressed our concerns because as I said before, serious concerns about the economy, and then we also reiterated the point that we've been making all the time, that this is the time we need to look at industry and manufacturing. Because part of the reason why we are having the fast depreciation of the city is because we are highly import dependent. And our position has always been that we are not focusing enough on industrialization. We know that government has come up with some initiatives, but I think that we are not giving that much attention to it. The kind of resources that we need to support industry to grow, the linkage between industry and agriculture, we are not seeing that much of it. So much as we appreciate the Ministry of Agriculture doing so well in terms of food, planting for food and jobs and all that, the objective so far has been food security. But we think that it should move beyond food security to produce to feed industry. So the linkage between industry and agriculture is key. So we expressed all these and then also gave some suggestions on how government can also improve its domestic revenue mobilization, because it's a key part of the challenge. If you are not mobilizing enough resources and then you are spending so much, then there's always that gap between your income and expenditure, and it creates that situation and then it fuels the challenges that we have. So indeed, we expressed these concerns, and I hope that government will also take some of the points we made into account, and then further discussions was also going to be very necessary. Because of course, it was just a short period of discussion. We couldn't have all the time to exhaust the issues that we had on the table. So Ministry of Finance and the other ministers have also agreed to meet us subsequently so that we delve into some of the issues in a more detailed manner.
Do you seriously believe that things will get better?
I think the last thing we should do as a country is to give up hope. The moment we get to that stage, then we are virtually doomed. So it can only be better. It cannot be worse than where we are now.
Okay.
So I strongly believe that it should be better. And I think that we should have confidence and we should support government in any way possible so that we all achieve the common objectives that we have for ourselves.
Mr. Bachenji, if the president refuses to sack Ken Ofori-Atta, will you join your colleagues on the other side in the censure?
Well, first of all, let me try and address one or two issues. Honorable Mutala, I think, to describe the president as super incompetent.
He's worse than that word. I was looking for the most appropriate description. Honestly, if you could let someone
I think
borrow
sometimes we are the words we use as politicians. I mean, we have to, yes.
President Mahama had water around his veins.
No,
You guys, President Nana was describing him incompetent.
I had never described John Mahama.
I say President Nanado, then
bear with me. If other MPP guys were describing President Mahama as incompetent, those words did not come from me.
So I'm referring to the very person who described him
I'm
as
on
incompetent.
the reason why I'm drawing your attention to it is because I'm on the set with you. Otherwise, if you say it elsewhere, I don't, yes. Because, yes, we have challenges, and I'm sure the president is doing his best, despite the fact that we all have, disagreement, a serious disagreement with him as to why he's still keeping Ken Ofori-Atta as the finance ministry.
Yeah.
But to say he's incompetent is a bit too harsh.
Really?
Yes. You see, like I said, we are all concerned about the economy.
Okay.
Right? We all feel that certain decisions ought to be taken. Right? If the president doesn't take them, the party does not just belong to the president and Ken Ofori-Atta. There are other leading members who can make a stance, like we've made today, that we want certain things to happen.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
In the interest of the party and in the interest of the government. You understand?
Yeah.
I remember when President Mahama went somewhere to make a speech and there was a page missing, and it was like, end of the world. These are mistakes. But people will blow it as if, it's the president's fault. It's the society we live in.
Okay.
We want to score political point out of everything. But to sit and describe a certain president,
I think you've made that point.
yes, it's a bit too harsh.
So,
as for Ken Ofori-Atta,
okay.
my view is simple. I'm not interested in anything he does.
Okay.
My view is that he must go.
Okay. And if the president doesn't sack him, what would you do?
Well, I told you, the supreme body in any democracy is Parliament. It's not the executive.
Okay.
So we've told the president, if he doesn't sack him, we'll just not participate in his business.
It's just 80 of you, not all of you.
Well, but you see, now, President Ofori cannot even afford to even lose one MP on the majority side.
Yeah.
Yes, because of the votes in the House. But they're always there. They have nowhere to go. even when he is in this new constituency. First was Nanton. Now he's come down to Tamale North. Central. Even when he's there, he will fly to come to Accra to vote. So they're always in the House. They have nowhere to go. So President Akufo-Addo cannot afford to lose a single MP on the majority side. It will be tough for his government. So we've given a choice. You work with us. We made you president. Okay. Yes. Yes. Of course, I'm his MP.
Yep.
Yes. And apart from that, I've supported his bid from 2005. I was his polling agent and all that. I want him to leave a befitting legacy. Okay. But I don't think Ken Ofori-Atta will contribute to that legacy. Okay. And no matter what the president says at this time, we disagree with him. Okay. Ken Ofori-Atta must go.
So you're giving him an ultimatum?
Yes. No, we've given it to him. We've told him that, look, today we said at the press conference, all of us were there. Even if one or two persons decide not to come to Parliament, ask him.
Yeah. That will
cost the president.
Government business.
Yes. And we've told him that we're not going to participate in his budget. It's coming up in the next 2-3 weeks. Yes, we've given all the signals that look, these are the things to watch. As for Ken Ofori-Atta, I think everything that he has under his sleeve, he's done it as a minister in the past 6 years. It's time to say, thank you, Mother Ghana. Let me go into retirement. Let somebody take over. There are a lot of young people in this country who had hope and aspirations for the Akufo-Addo administration. And I think they've been left in the lurch by the economic conditions in the country and what have you. So all we are saying to Ken Ofori-Atta is that, look, Nanado is appointing authority, and Akufo-Addo is that, please, relieve your cousin of his position, bring a new face, and let's support you to build and grow the economy. That's my take on Kenofo.
Montala, when are you moving the motion?
The president is not only super incompetent, he's gross, crass, and fantastically incompetent. Tell me one success story.
You now finally got the vocabulary you're
yes,
looking for.
In fact, I'm still looking for more vocabulary. You see, the man is simply incompetent. This press conference we held is the clearest demonstration how incompetent the president is. Now, you are blaming the person he has appointed. You are not blaming the person who has appointed him. Look, if the chief comes home with weird haircut, what do you think his subjects will do?
But if you think the president needs to go, why
is that money full of problems?
If you think the president must go, why are you not also moving for censure
No, we are
of the president?
going to that.
Okay.
We are going to that, and I'm saying that we will do that.
Okay.
The president, some of us will move a motion for his impeachment.
For now, you are talking
yes.
about the censorship of the minister. When are you moving that motion?
Look, I'm saying tomorrow. The process has actually begun. But Ayisha, I listen to the AGI.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel for them. I feel for Guta, and I've always said that the Guta people, they have never been disrespected by any political elite in this country than this government. Guta members contributed money to finance the MPP's campaign. Why is it that people are not interested in where we are going, where our city is depreciating? I've heard everybody saying this government has industrialized. The 1D1F and how it is implemented is the most incompetent implementation of a policy. At the Ministry of Trade, there was a ban in the importation of rice by small rice importers. The small rice importers actually petitioned the ministry. My minister asked me to constitute a team to investigate, to ascertain whether there was any justification for lifting that ban or not. When I constituted the team, I made a leading member of MPP to lead the investigation, Mr. Kofi Kapito. When they went around and submitted their report, it was very clear that there was the need for that ban to be maintained. We never lifted the ban. We were spending $500 million importing rice and poultry products into this country. In fact, the very day this crass, incompetent president was sworn in, who plagiarized, by the way, his even first speech, and you say he's not incompetent. The very day he was sworn in, that day, 7th January, we're spending a little over $500 million importing rice and poultry products into this country. From that time till now, we are spending over $2 billion. It's a simple law of demand and supply. Yeah. And there is no any explanation except that you lifted the ban because they finance your campaign.
Okay.
Why? And in fact, in 2018, the then Deputy Minister for Trade, Honorable Ahunka Lindsay, met the Taiwanese business community. That's the Minister of State. And wanted to impress them and said, we are spending over $1 billion importing rice into this country, and about 60% of what we spend, we buy rice from your country. This was the Minister of State. The man is incompetent. His appointees are incompetent. As a matter of fact, those who are heading ministries and agencies, perhaps they are the team F.
So you're moving the motion tomorrow.
We are moving the motion tomorrow, and we expect them. There can't be any fence sitting. If they sincerely think that this man must be impeached or must be sacked or resign or however they are describing it, they should join us. No one should be called to submission. And frankly, I just have to praise them for standing up against this economic tyranny. But I'm saying that it is not a panacea to the economic challenges. What the problem is the head itself. Okay. Look, if the head, rotting of a fish starts from the head.
Have you decided when you want to do the impeachment?
We will do that. We were in this country. When my brother, and for the avoidance of doubt, Dr. Baumia is my senior brother.
Okay.
He's my Muslim
For the sake
brother.
of time,
yes, I'm saying
wrap it up for me.
Muslim brother, which is very critical, important to me. He's a northern brother.
Yeah.
I want to apologize to the people of this country for and on behalf of Dr. Baumia for having lied to the people of this country, having deceived people into thinking that they had a magic wand.
But he can do that himself.
He's my son.
If he wants
in the North, we apologize for our senior brother.
I'm grateful for your time,
Professor
Mohammed.
Professor
MP for
the Minister for Trade.
Tamale Central.
Very incompetent minister.
Mr. Eugene Boachi Entry. He's MP for Subing. I'm grateful that you gentlemen came. And thank you so much, Mr. Seth Chuma Kwaba. He's CEO of the AGI. My name is Ayisha Ibrahim. Enjoy the rest of our programs.